Hi, this is Muho again from Osaka. I've been talking about the importance of the teacher and the relation towards the teacher for the last 2 weeks. Basically, the question is if you have a teacher whom you trust, but still sometimes his ideas about the Buddha Dharma and about the practice seem to be quite different from your ideas. At the end of the day, whom do you follow? Do you follow your own ideas and leave the teacher? Or do you follow your own ideas but still stick with the teacher but ignore from time to time what he says when it contradicts your own ideas, and only follow the teacher when he says what fits with your own ideas? Or do you maybe reinterpret the words of the teacher to make them fit your own ideas? What should you do? And the question is, well, why do you have a teacher? If you only want to follow your own ideas, you don't need a teacher. On the other hand, does it mean to follow the teacher unconditionally? No. Again, the answer is no. And to explain what Dogen says on that point, last time I read a part of section 12, book 6 of the Shobo Genzo Zuimonki, and you will find a link to a PDF file with the whole book in the video description. I will read the section 12 once more. Dogen instructed, these days many people who are learning the way listen to a talk on the Dharma and above all want their teacher to know that they have a correct understanding and want to give good replies. This is why the words they listen to go in one ear and out of the other. They still lack body mind and remain self-centered. So if you do Shikantaza, just sitting that's good for nothing, just because your teacher told you so, and you want to impress your teacher by not asking any questions, that's not just sitting. That's just trying to impress the teacher, and it's a way of self-centeredness. Again, Dogen continues. First of all, forget your ego and listen quietly to what others say, and later ponder it well. That's important. Listen, forgetting about the ego and listen, but then also pondering it well. Ponder it well. Then, if you find some thoughts or have some doubts, so that's completely okay that you sometimes think, oh, that doesn't really make sense to me, I see a contradiction there. So if that happens, you find some thoughts or have some doubts, you may make criticism. When you have grasped the point, you should present your understanding to your teacher. Waiting to claim immediate understanding shows that you are not really listening to the Dharma. So, if you have the feeling that the ideas your teacher has about practice and your own ideas conflict with each other, it's totally okay to ask the teacher about that and tell him, for me it's difficult to follow your advice on practice because I personally feel such and such. And you will see, a good teacher will respond to that. Again, I mean, he might just be trying to burst your bubble. He might be trying to push you out of your comfort zone. And maybe that's exactly what you need. Although it might not be exactly what you want. It's not what you want, but maybe it's what you need. But a good teacher will be willing to listen to your doubts and have something to say about your doubts. And what a lot of people seem to be trying to do or expecting from me, Muho, sitting here in Osaka, a lot of people write me emails or write me comments that sound like in the books of Dogen and Sawaki I find this, but now my teacher tells me that and that. Muho, what do you think about it? Muho, can you explain what my teacher maybe tries to hint at? Can you explain this contradiction to me? And I'm always surprised, because that's a question that you shouldn't be asking to me. You should be asking it to the teacher, or maybe also to yourself. But it's not my job to explain to you what maybe your teacher might be intending. Ask your teacher. And if you, at the end of the day, still think, no, that's not a good teacher for me, then you should change the teacher. And then another section that I would like to share with you, same book, book 6, section 14. And if you don't know the Zuimonki, I mean, you should definitely, if you think of yourself as a serious student of Zen, that's definitely recommended reading, even if you're not Soto but Rinzai. Even for Rinzai students, definitely recommended reading. Book 6, section 14, Dogen instructed. Students of the way, when you practice with a certain teacher and learn the Dharma, you should listen thoroughly again and again until you completely understand. If you spend time without asking what should be asked, or without saying what should be said, it will certainly be your own loss. Teachers always await questions from their disciples. So it's not enough to just listen. You also have to ask the right questions. Teachers always await questions from their disciples and give their own comments. You should ask again and again to make sure even of things that you have already understood. Teachers also should ask their disciples whether they have really understood or not, and thoroughly convince them of the truth of the Dharma. Okay, so much about that. Do you really trust your teacher, or do you trust your own ideas of practice? And when you think that Shikantaza is better than koan practice, are you maybe at the end of the day also just doing prostrations in front of an empty box, or a box that might even contain a poisonous snake? You have to open the box to find out, I guess. Okay, thank you very much for this question. It's an important question. That's why I took 3 times to answer it. And if you have more questions, ask them to your teacher, ask them to yourself, and if you like, you can also ask them to me. But if it's a question about what your teacher does or says, first of all, you should ask it to the teacher. Okay, thank you for watching. See you again next week. Next week it's gonna be about Shinjin Datsulaku, dropping of body and mind.